discussion this morning with the local civil aviation and works ministry. Tell us how that went.
Okay, well, this low-fare airline is called Red Jet,
Good.
where we can be contacted at www.flyredjet.com or on our Facebook. We had meetings this morning with the ministry and the head of civil aviation, just to clarify a number of small outstanding issues which have been clarified, and we're now good to go.
Good. And that good to go means we'll see a flight coming in here when?
That means that our first flight into Guyana will be on the 10th of May from Barbados, and we will be commencing services from that date from Barbados to Guyana.
Good, right. Hit straight to the fares.
Yes.
It shows that gradation in terms of how the fares would move. We're talking and how that is tied into the demand for seats, and how that is linked to maybe baggage that you're taking on the plane.
Well, as you know, Red Jet is bringing a revolution into air travel in the region. And what we mean by that is we are fundamentally going to change what has been in the market before. We refer to this as a war on high fares. This is an end to high fares in the region. Every flight that we fly will have one-way tickets of $9.99 US cents, excluding taxes and charges. That means that every flight forever will have $9.99 fares on those flights. That is a promise from Red Jet to the consumer. Our fares will go up in $10 increments, and we'll be on a time-based basis, so as you get closer to the time of the flight, clearly as demand increases, so the fares will increase. But overall, there will be a 60% reduction on current airfares in the region on any and every route we fly. We will bring at least a 60% reduction to the current airfares, and every fare and every route will have a $9.99 fare.
Tell us how that would go up, how the fares would gradually go up.
Well, they go up based on time and based on demand in $10 increments. So as people wait, if you want to go and book a ticket today, book it today. It will never be cheaper. So if you wait another week, the fare could go up. So make your decision early, make it quick, because you will never get it as cheap as you will see it online then.
Tell us about that vote of the people and the voice of the people in all this.
Yeah, we came from this because we were consumers. And as consumers of air travel in the region, we found that it was very inflexible and very expensive in comparison to other regions in the world. So we had a look at this and we did market research. And we found out that only 4% of people were satisfied in the region with air services. And that's a shocking indictment on an industry, that only 4% of customers are happy. And that doesn't include the people who don't travel and can't travel. So we identified what we saw were the primary issues. The primary issues were non-stop jet flight services were required, fares were far too high, they were too inflexible, and so the consumer wanted these products. They wanted to arrive on time, they wanted their bags to arrive on time. These are our promises. These are Red Jet promises to our consumers. You'll get the lowest fares in Red Jet, you will arrive on time, and you will take off on time, and your bags will arrive on time. And that's what we're basing our promise to the consumer around. We believe now we are creating options for travel that were not there before. All the other airlines are virtually the same type of airlines, the same type of product, the same type of service. We are now creating an opt-in policy whereby you only pay for what you get, for what you want. You choose what you want. In other words, if you want a ticket, you just pay for a ticket. If you want to bring a ticket and one bag, you pay for a ticket and one bag. If you want to pay for priority boarding, you can pay for that. If you want insurance, you can pay for that. If you want to eat on board, you can pay for that. We are bringing in a number of firsts into the Caribbean. We're bringing in the first Sky Cafe and Bar, where you will be able to shop for products that you would like, which you would want. We have to provide you with things you would like to buy at prices that you would seem are reasonable. Okay? We're the first to have an all-jet service. We're the first to bring in a non-stop point-to-point service. We're the first airline to bring in the retail distribution model that we're bringing into the market to make it easy for people to access Red Jet and access our fares. And so we are bringing all these things to the market. We believe this is a revolution. And because of the fare structure we're bringing in, we genuinely believe that the consumer is the winner, because other airlines will have to reduce their fares. And so that has to be a win-win for the consumer. And as I said last night, the consumer now will be given the first chance to vote as to how they want to travel. We're creating one option. There are other options there, therefore being created. They're already in the market, and so people will now have the option to choose. And I think that's fantastic for the consumer. They have choice. For the first time in the region, on the routes we're going to be able to fly, people will have choice. And we want to expand that route structure out into many, many more destinations, and to bring this benefit to many, many more countries and to the people of each country.
And in that same vein, your destinations now will be Barbados, Guyana, Jamaica. Tell us about the frequency of the flights, for example, maybe to Guyana.
Well, we're going to start off with 4 flights a week from Port of Spain, or from Barbados to Guyana, and we will build that up to at least daily. We're also flying from Barbados to Port of Spain. We'll be servicing that route 13 times a week, and we'll be flying to Jamaica, and there'll be 4 times a week on that route as well, and also from Trinidad to Jamaica as well, 4 times a week. All of those routes we will build up to be at least weekly, and we will also hopefully be able to fly from Port of Spain to Guyana, and again that's a route I think that will be bring great benefits to people in Guyana.
Your proprietary work, just give us a little old brief on the proprietary work, because it's a success story now, coming out of your proprietary work, the engagements with the various key players, stakeholders in the key islands that you'll be transiting in. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, as I say, we just haven't arrived. We've been working in the Caribbean since 2006. We've been working with various governments around the region. We were eventually last year invited by Barbados, the government of Barbados, to actually set up our operation there. So that's why we've done that. In general terms, we've had a reasonably good reception. People are, I think, quite rightly, because they haven't any history, they still quite don't understand how the model works. But this is a model that works all around the world. The only region in the world that doesn't have a low-fare airline is the Caribbean. And we are the pioneers at that stage, if we want to call it that, to bring the low-fare model into the Caribbean. And it's a model that really, I think, is built for the Caribbean. Any market that is price-sensitive, any market that has a huge requirement for travel, which the Caribbean generally does have, because apart from Guyana, it's basically much an island-based geographical location. And so there's a huge requirement for air travel. And so price-sensitive, lots of requirement to travel, low-cost metal fits exactly into that scenario.
Right, and maybe you could mention the successes of this low-cost concept in the other regions.
Yeah, I mean, everywhere a low-fare airline has been introduced, over a 5-year period, the GDP of those countries have gone up by between 2 and 4%. The countries that have been less developed, obviously, the growth is even bigger. What it's done is it's expedited the growth in air traffic, the amount of people who travel. It's brought huge benefits, economic and social benefits to all the regions. The most successful airlines in the world now, from an economic perspective, from a financial perspective, are the low-fare airlines, like the Ryanairs in Europe, like the EasyJets, like the Air Asias, like the Gulls in Brazil, like the Tigers in India. All of these are the most successful airlines in the world, and they are the ones that are the low-fare models, and it clearly works. In fact, a lot of the large sort of international carriers have actually taken their management teams from low-cost carriers to try and bring the benefits of low-cost carriers into. I mean, BA is a classic example. Willie Walsh, who was the CEO of BA, was actually the CEO of Aer Lingus in Ireland, and they were the first legacy airline to translate themselves into a low-fare airline. And so it's clearly seen around the world of aviation that the low-fare model is a model that really works, and it brings long-term strategic benefit to countries and regions.
Beautiful. You said you met our tourism industry minister
Yes.
and our president.
Yes.
Right, and you said your model fits into their plan as they see it for air travel in the region. Tell us a little bit about how that discussion went and what the thinking of our local officials is. Just hold on. That noise, right? Yeah, just hold on. That thing's feeding. Yes, respond.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't like to speak on behalf of be seen to speak on behalf of the president or the government, but
No.
what actually we were approached by a Guyanese businessman to see would we be interested in actually starting our airline in Guyana. because I believe the government here, we're seeking additional airlift, and we're finding it extremely hard to get additional airlift. And so we had already commenced our operations to our license application within Barbados, and so it was, at that stage we couldn't relocate to Guyana, but obviously we were very keen to provide services in Guyana, and so I think our wish to be a Caribbean and a pan-Caribbean low-fare airline and to provide services to and from and develop services to and from Guyana actually was in some way or other was in unison or whatever with the in sync with the government's wishes to try and develop airlift as well. So that's what we've tried to do, is to partner with governments and with agencies to ensure that what we're doing meets with some of the objectives of those countries as well. And we believe, again, for the low fare model, it really does suit Guyana, because Guyanese have to travel a lot. They're a little like the country I come from, Ireland, where there's a lot of economic migration, and so people want to get home and visit, and people want to go and visit. And in Ireland up to 1992, before low fare airlines came in, just people couldn't do that. It was just too expensive, and so people had to live apart. Now people will be able to come together more regularly. Families and family units will be able to celebrate